Have you ever been so angry, so hurt, that you found the perfect words to completely destroy someone who thought they had power over you? Well, that's exactly what happened to me with my stepfather. And those 7 words I said, they changed everything. But before I tell you what I said, let me take you back to where this nightmare began. I was 15 when my mom married David. At first, he seemed like the perfect gentleman of flowers for mom, kind words for me, always playing the role of the caring stepfather in front of everyone. But the moment my mother left the house, his true face would emerge like a monster crawling out from under the bed. It started small. Little comments about my appearance, my grades, my friends. "Your real father left because of girls like you," he'd whisper when mom was in the shower. "You're just like your mother, useless and needy." Each word was like a tiny knife, cutting deeper and deeper into my self-esteem. But it got worse. So much worse. David had this twisted way of making me feel invisible and worthless simultaneously. He'd ignore me completely during family dinners, talking over me like I didn't exist. Then later, he'd corner me in the hallway and tear me apart with his cruel words. "Nobody will ever love you," became his favorite phrase. "You're damaged goods." My grades started slipping. I became withdrawn, stopped hanging out with friends. My mom noticed, but when I tried to tell her, David was always there with his perfect explanations. "She's just being a typical teenager," he'd say with that fake concerned voice. "You know how dramatic girls her age can be." The worst part? I started believing him. I started thinking maybe I was the problem. Maybe I deserved this treatment. Maybe I really was worthless. Everything changed on a cold Tuesday evening. Mom had to work late at the hospital. She was a nurse and picked up extra shifts to help with our finances. David had been drinking, which always made him meaner, more unpredictable. I was in the kitchen doing homework when he stumbled in. His eyes had that cold, cruel look I'd learned to fear. "Look at you," he sneered, "sitting there like you actually matter. Like anyone cares about your pathetic little life." That night, he didn't just attack me with words. For the first time, he pushed me hard. I fell against the kitchen counter, pain shooting through my ribs. As I struggled to get up, he leaned down close to my face, his breath reeking of alcohol. "If you ever tell your mother about this, I'll make sure she chooses me over you." And guess what? She will. Because nobody wants a troubled, lying teenager. You'll end up in foster care, and it'll be all your fault. But here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. As I lay there on the kitchen floor, something inside me snapped. Not broke, snapped into place. Like a puzzle piece, finally finding where it belonged. You see, David had no idea who he was really dealing with. He thought I was just another scared little girl he could manipulate and control. But what he didn't know was that I had been documenting everything. Every cruel comment, every threat, every moment of abuse. I had been secretly recording it all on my phone. For months, I had been gathering evidence, waiting for the right moment. I wasn't just a victim anymore. I was building a case. 3 days later, our extended family came over for Sunday dinner. David was in his element, playing the perfect stepfather role in front of my aunts, uncles, and grandparents. He was telling stories, making jokes, his arm around my mom's shoulder like he was the most loving husband in the world. That's when I decided it was time. I stood up in the middle of dinner, my phone in my hand, and looked directly at David. His eyes widened slightly. He could sense something was different about me. The scared little girl he'd been tormenting was gone. The entire table fell silent. My mom looked confused. David tried to maintain his fake smile, but I could see the panic creeping into his eyes. And then I said it. 7 simple words that would destroy his carefully constructed facade forever. Should I play the recordings for everyone? The color drained from David's face instantly. His mouth opened and closed like a fish gasping for air. He knew exactly what recordings I was talking about. Months of his abuse, his threats, his true personality, all captured on my phone. My mom looked back and forth between us, confusion turning to realization. "What recordings?" she asked quietly. David tried to stammer out some explanation, but it was too late. The damage was done. In that moment, everyone at the table could see through his mask. His hands were shaking, sweat was forming on his forehead, and his perfect stepfather act was crumbling right before our eyes. I don't know what she's talking about," he finally managed to whisper, but his voice was barely audible. "Really?" I said, my finger hovering over the play button. "Because I have hours of audio that say otherwise. I never had to play those recordings." The threat was enough. David's reaction told everyone everything they needed to know. Within a week, he had moved out. Within a month, my mom had filed for divorce. But the best part? Word spread through our small town about what kind of man David really was. His reputation was destroyed. His job at the bank? Gone. His friends? They wanted nothing to do with him. His perfect life? Completely shattered by 7 simple words from a 15-year-old girl he thought he could break. You see, David thought I would stay quiet forever. He thought he had successfully broken my spirit, that I would never fight back. He underestimated the power of a girl who had been pushed too far. Those 7 words didn't just save me, they saved my mom from years of potential abuse. They saved any future stepdaughters he might have targeted. Sometimes, the most powerful weapon isn't violence or screaming. Sometimes, it's just the truth, delivered at exactly the right moment. To anyone out there dealing with a bully, an abuser, or someone who thinks they have power over you, document everything. Gather your strength, and remember that your voice matters. Sometimes, 7 words are all it takes to change everything. This was my story of revenge, justice, and finding my voice when I needed it most. And yes, this is the female version of standing up to those who think they can silence us forever. What would you have done in my situation? Have you ever had a moment where you found the perfect words to stand up to someone? Share your story in the comments below. You never know who might need to hear it.